Now, I've probably taught maybe 10,000 different students over my entire teaching career, and there's one thing that I would say over 99%, probably one out of a couple thousand people get right. And everybody else hasn't really been taught or learned to do this properly, and that's to get the proper wrist angles that the pros are doing. And if you do this, if you use these wrists properly, I can get tons of forward shaft lean. I can get my hands leaning in front of this golf ball at contact. That's gonna allow me to hit it so daggone solid. If you're struggling to hit the ball solid, then you need to learn this progression. I'm also gonna help you to really feel like you get that nice tight draw when we learn these wrist angles. So let's jump right into it. Man, this is gonna be a fun one. Now, most of the time when I see players square up the club, what's happening is they're squaring up the club by pushing the hands forwards and backwards. So if you imagine I put my hands out here in front of me, I'm thinking about squaring the club up by doing this, and I'm thinking about squaring the club up by rotating this way. But I'm not thinking about it by doing this, which is a totally different move. I'm bowing my wrist, my left wrist, I'm cupping my right wrist, and I'm releasing like that. Now, Hogan talked about it in his book. This is one of the things that he really had right. And I think it's good to know how to move these wrists, is what I'm going to teach first. But then I'm going to talk about the reason that maybe if you have tried this before, that it hasn't worked, and the secret to really getting it to work once and for all. So first, let's talk about what this wrist needs to do. I'm going to start with my left hand here. And what I want to do is I want to go ahead and come halfway down. I'm going to rotate my logo of my club down to the ground. And you're going to see that's going to put my club face completely closed. Now from there, I want to imagine that instead of letting the wrist go forward like this, and now you can see my left wrist is cupped, I'm going to give you the exaggeration of how this should feel. I'm going to bow that wrist, the logo is going to be the ground, and then from there, I'm going to feel like the club stays parallel to the ground and does this. Almost like if I took the logo of my glove, we're out here early in the morning, there's a lot of dew on the ground, like I was going to take my logo and just brush all the dew off the ground as I release my hand. So you see my hand is turning this way. I'm going ahead and getting that doorknob turning to the left, but at the same time I'm bowed. So it's like this. That's the motion of the left wrist. So I'm coming all the way on through. Now that would be the biggest smother hook you've ever hit in your life, which is exactly what we want to do. But before we jump into that, let's actually add the right hand on there. Again, I'm going to take that right hand, I'm going to bow those knuckles back or cup those knuckles back, palm is out. I'm going to imagine that now my right hand, again the same thing, I'm turning that club head down, my palm of my hand is toward the ground. If it was on the ground, on that dew again, I would be brushing the dew. So I'm rotating my hand this way, but I'm keeping my palm down the entire time. That's really the secret to getting these pro impact alignments. That's the secret to getting these hands so far in front, is that sensation that I just gave you there. But it's really not going to work unless you do this next part. And what it is your brain is so tied into trying to get that ball to fly the way that you want it to fly, your body just will not let you, your mind will not let you do what we just talked about with those wrist angles. So we got to break that by kind of shocking the system here. And the way that I want to do this is I'm going to line up straight and I'm going to hit some low smother hooks. Now I have a pond to the left of me today. If I was really doing this correctly, I would hit about 30 balls straight into that pond. So you want to get on the driving range when you're doing this. You want to make sure that when you're really doing this drill, you have a little bit more space, more than we do here today. But I'm going to do it slowly to show you exactly what I should feel. So again, I'm going to go down to here. I'm turning those hands down. Logo of the glove down, palm of the right hand down. This club face is so closed. Now I'm not going to flip it and square the club face like this. I'm going to pet the dew off the ground, and I'm going to have that club face really, really closed. So that's going to look something like this when I hit that shot. It's just a low hook to the left. Now if you look at my hands, I'm going to go ahead and turn this way so we can see them easier. If you look at my hands when I finished, logo of the glove down, palm of my right hand down, club face is completely closed. This would be the wrong way. This would be more like where your real swing is, where my hand is kind of shaking hands. We've all heard that. We want to exaggerate it to where now I would have my palm of my hand down and the logo of my glove down. So I'm going to hit about 20 or 30 shots doing that same thing. I'm not going to hit that here today, but I want you to hit about 20 or 30 shots. Again, little half swings. I'm smothering it down to where that face is completely closed, and I'm just going ahead and letting that release, letting that turn on over like this. You can't overdo this. I promise you, you can't overdo this. Now, if you tend to be a little bit steep in the downswing, you tend to get a little bit here, Now all of a sudden, when I'm releasing my hands like that, I don't really want to do that anymore. I'm not going to want to get steep. When I release my hands this exaggerated way, all of a sudden I'm going to want to come in more from the inside to try to get that ball going more toward the target, which is that shallowing out move that we all want to get. Now, even if I shallow it out properly, I'm still going to be hitting it slightly to the left. So the final piece to this, to straightening that out, is just relax on it a little bit. Feel like you make a little bit more of your normal swing. You're going to have the hands leaning in front, but instead of having that exaggerated smother hook, I'm going to feel like it's a little bit straighter. And once you relax on this drill a little bit, it's going to take your normal kind of steeper swing, a little bit of an early release, not as good a forward shaft lean here, and because you've exaggerated, you're going to start getting it shallow. You're going to start getting the hands in front without really having to think about it that much. So that exaggeration helps you to incorporate that into your full swing really, really quickly. Now, there's another piece to this. That's the pro wrist angles. That's that pro compression to finally get that ball just kind of clicking, smashing against the face. But if I don't have very much power with that, if I don't have very much swing speed, that's not going to make a ton of difference. Yeah, you're going to hit it solid. You're going to hit a lot of crisp golf shots all the way around the course, but you're not going to have the power that you deserve. The next piece of this is, now that we have this good impact alignments, these pro alignments, we have to learn to get some speed to this. And I'm going to do that by properly using my lower body to load up in my backswing. Now, a lot of players get this wrong. They never think about their lower body. They only think about loading their shoulders. And it's really the lower body that leads to a good, powerful backswing. I'm going to play a preview of one of my best, what I call the power turn video. It's one of my 5 fundamentals, the real fundamentals in the golf swing in my top speed golf system. I'm going to play a preview of this power turn. It's going to talk about a little bit about the lower body to make sure you load that properly and that you get the power you deserve. Now, once you add that to these pro wrist angles, you're going to be playing some pretty daggone good golf. You're going to love the way the ball sounds coming off the club. All you need to do is go ahead and click the card that pops up somewhere on your screen here. And if you don't see that, don't worry. Go down to the description below and click the link there. You'll get instant access to this video that I'm about to play a preview of. Best of luck. I can't wait to see you in the power turn. Let's go and get started now. Most of the instruction out there today is killing you of your power. The things that they're telling you to do can make you hit it shorter, and worse than that, not even any more consistent. I'm going to go over some of the real secrets to powerful, consistent golf in this video. Let's go and get started. So here's some of the keys into making that happen. If you want to incorporate this in your swing, let me break it down exactly what you should do. Number one, let's focus on the belt buckle. This is another big misconception. I want to keep that belt buckle facing the ball so I can really stretch out my midsection and really get loaded up. I'm not a big fan of that. That's really going to kill your distance. In your backswing, I want to feel like that belt buckle rotates to the right and you really let your hips and legs be loose. Notice how my legs are moving here. I'm not trying to keep those rigid and tight, or I'm really just taking all the speed out of my swing. All right, so on that one, I really felt like I let my belt buckle rotate back. And a good key to this is feel like your knees are loose. Feel like when you make your backswing. Piece number two, let's go ahead and rotate our shoulders. When I let my lower body rotate, my upper body can rotate a lot better also. So if I let my hips move, my shoulders will move more. So here, once I've got my hips working well, I'm gonna add to that my shoulders making a big rotation. On average, on the PGA Tour, players are getting about 120 degrees of shoulder rotation. I don't see hardly anybody getting less than 90 degrees. So it starts with the hips, knees nice and loose, allow the belt buckle to rotate, and then from there, so those are two really big keys. But here's the truth. There's one thing, and if you don't do this correctly, nothing else is gonna work.